ties between Russia and China are now blossoming as Russian President Putin and Chinese President Xi are set to meet as part of a summit in Uzbekistan. This will also be the two leaders' first face-to-face meeting since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. According to reports, the two countries are planning a serious, full-fledged meeting with a detailed agenda. So what's on that agenda? Here to discuss, former Undersecretary of Defense, Secretary Robert Wilkie. What do you think is going on between them now?
Well, certainly with Xi, he's trying to distract from the domestic problems that he has. The Chinese economy is tanking. The real estate market has collapsed. He's in a lot of domestic trouble. And this is the easy thing to do is go overseas. But the other part of the problems that he's now facing is that his Russian ally, at least its conventional military, is collapsing. The Ukrainians have rendered the entire Russian Black Sea fleet combat ineffective. They're taking attacks now into Russia proper. And Xi has got to figure out how he supports without going down with the Russian ship. And I think that's part of the reason that he's going to see Putin, to see just exactly what kind of bad shape the Russian economy as well as the Russian military is in.
Yeah, this is quite a turnaround over, what was it, 3 months ago plus, in which they got together and Putin he still had visions of getting the Soviet Union back together. And then what happened in Ukraine kind of went south on him. And things are looking very bad for him and for the Russian economy. And then in China, like you were saying, its economy is getting devastated. Let me tell you what strikes me, Mr. Wilkie, is that oil today, Brent crude oil is down 5%. We're down to $88. Remember, we were up around 140 at one point. We've got other oil down another 5%, near $82 a barrel. Now, you would think with the shortage of oil around the world and what's going on with natural gas over in Europe, that the prices would be going up. That's how bad the Chinese economy is. So, because the demand has shrunk that much. So how does this affect us? We should be the big winner in this. How would we manifest that?
Well, we would be if we didn't have a White House that was insecure and unclear in its own thinking about the Chinese problem. Right now, with China acting in a bellicose manner toward Taiwan, the weapons that Taiwan needs to bolster its defenses are locked up in the Byzantine processes of the Biden State Department. So the weapons flow has stopped because this administration can't decide what it wants to do. So that is one problem. The other problem that has not been mentioned is that there's a third leg to this stool, and that is Iran. The Iranians look to the Russians and to the Chinese for support on the international stage. And my guess is that the Biden administration's psychotic desire to get any agreement with the Iranians, which will be backed by the Chinese, will come after the midterm elections. And that sets the stage for a nuclear playground in the Middle East where all bets in terms of traditional foreign and defense policy are off.
Yeah, that's a frightening scenario, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about more in the future. I did want to address this. There's a bipartisan House delegation arriving in Taiwan today through Friday, I believe it is. It includes people like Darrell Issa, the lawmaker, Claudia Tenney, Kat Kamek. And this comes after multiple officials like Nancy Pelosi and Senator Marsha Blackburn went to Taiwan. What's your reading on this? Why does it matter, or does it matter?
Well, it matters in the sense that the Chinese can't count on a Biden-like policy being played out into the broader future, that they recognize that there is a sizable element in the American political community that believes Taiwan must be protected, because if Taiwan goes, then Japan is in grave danger, the Philippines, all the way down to Australia and Singapore. So it's important that these leaders continue to go to Taiwan. But the biggest problem is that the Chinese, like the Russians, are in the heads of this administration. And that is the biggest problem that we face, because we don't have a coherent policy when it comes to China. Last thing, Bob, you and I had been scheduled to talk a few weeks ago about what was going on in the Pacific. I'll mention one word: Guadalcanal, the Solomon Islands, where the Marine Corps earned its stripes in the Pacific in blood. The Solomon Islands just recently cut a deal with the Chinese communists, and an American Coast Guard cutter and its Australian counterpart were denied entry into the Solomon Islands. China is moving into the Pacific, and this administration has no answer, and our allies are actually looking to each other rather than to Washington for collective defense.
That is shameful. What we did there, I think it was 6,000 or 7,000 of our soldiers died there to help establish freedom of the people there and establish a base in which to take on Japan. I mean, the fact that that happened is shameful, the way it played out. Secretary Wilkie, thank you so much, sir.
Always good to see you, Bob.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee-for-life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number: 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.